Well, a very good morning, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of the Viking at the East Launceston Bowls Club. Rick Fontaine with you, and great to have your company wherever you might be watching us from. It might be here in Launceston, or you might be somewhere else around Tassie, the country, or maybe even overseas. We have had a bit of rain this morning, but thankfully for us and the spectators and the bowlers, it has cleared. And one man I know who's really looking forward to today. Should be a cracking day. It was a great event last year, and it's a pleasure to welcome back Rob Sauer. G'day, Rob.
G'day, Rick, and always an absolute pleasure to catch up with you, and good morning, listeners. And I know, Rick, we chatted during the week in preparation for today, and you made the excellent point that this event has built on what was wonderful last year, but the depth of the field, absolutely amazing this year. They've really delivered East Launceston, haven't they?
They certainly have, and it's interesting as well because we're going to see, well, 3 states represented in this first quarter final that's coming up very shortly. So Rob McMullen and Ollie Morrison are going to be taking on Tom Vlahos and Ben Winter, and you've been doing your research this morning. We've had a quick chat with the 4 as well. They've just had their roll-up and about to start, but this should be very, very entertaining.
Yeah, it will be, and as you said, Rick, representation from 3 states. Tom Vlahos from WA, Ben Winter lives in Victoria but plays his bowls out of New South Wales, and obviously, as our locals would know, Rob and Ollie are local champions in their own right. So if you're watching in WA, it'd be an early morning for you over there with that daylight saving this morning. It'd be 3 hours behind us.
Yeah, they don't have it, do they? So they're now 3 hours all of a sudden. So good morning to you. We're nearly about the tick into the afternoon, and we're very close to getting underway here as well now as well, Rob. So they've had their roll-up.
Yeah,
they do need to warm up because it is quite chilly. But
yeah, I know when I spoke to Tom, Rick, just as we were getting ready to come on air, he made a joke about the weather, and he said it's been a bit similar in WA, so certainly wouldn't be feeling too much of a difference there, I'm sure. And Tom, as our listeners would know from the Joondalup Bowls Club, a lovely part of WA.
It's a very nice start to the day as well. So McMullen and Morrison taking on Vlahos and Winter, and this is a quarter final. The event, it kicked off on Friday night. We had a fantastic night up here at the Bowls Club, Rob. It was absolutely packed. Brendan Favola was our special guest. And then last night, plenty of entertainment. Chiseled. You a Cold Chisel fan?
Absolutely, Cold Chisel fan. And it's great you mentioned that, Rick. I mean, what a fantastic 3-day event the club have put on. Not just about the bowls and what happens on the green, but also that off-green entertainment, which... by all accounts, from what I heard, it was fantastic on both nights.
Yeah, no, terrific. And nice crowd here early on this morning as well. We'll have the VIP areas have been set up. And here we got young Ollie Morrison on the mat. Rob, good young bowler, this fella from Longford.
Certainly is member of the Longford Tigers and Northern champions in the last season, but... very interesting state final, Longford, Kingborough, and I'm just trying to think, it might have been Port Surrell, all one match each in that, but Kingborough went away with the chocolates, but Ollie, an under-18 state representative, and also a very strong member of that Longford Tigers side.
Indeed. So a little bit of rain, as we said early on this morning. It's wind sort of around that 20 kilometres an hour, so not the greatest of conditions to be fair at the moment, but it's dry, and we should have a very good afternoon here. The crowd will continue to build up. Last year, remember, we were sunburnt here, Rob. It was very warm.
We were, and for those of us out there in the community who don't have a lot on the top of their heads anymore, I know my head copped an absolute pounding through my hat. That's a beautiful bowl.
Very, very nice.
So, Jack there.
And of course, Tassie fans, Rob McMullen, Rowdy's had he's had a great 12 months. Part of the Tasmania Tridents, of course, as well in the BPL, and he has been in outstanding form and going to be playing his bowls over with Essendon Bowls Club. He's heading over there to, well, not Windy Hill, but in the vicinity. But he is a very, very fine bowler, and I think he and Ollie, I believe, undefeated so far across the weekend. So making a very, very strong case.
Oh, they do, and as you said, for me, when they announced those quarter-finalists, of which we're calling now, the quality of what's not here says a lot about the breadth and depth of this tournament, Rick, that's for sure.
Yep,
So
indeed.
to get to this stage, you're travelling pretty well.
Come, Betty! Great
Little
effort, mate.
heavy
Good
there
shot.
from Winter.
It was.
We got the one, mate. Think you're just drawing down there.
The
Can't
moment,
get to
though,
that.
they're
It's that far behind. Even if you're there,
great to
you're
pick
good.
up the effects mics as well, just with what the bowlers are talking about. And it is whether it's pairs, triples, fours, it's all about teamwork as well, isn't it? It's not that far down the other end, but you got to communicate, because things look a lot different from up at the mat.
No, they do, Rick. And that's nice. You'd know that yourself as a
Down
bowler.
one.
It looks a bit different from the other end of the rink, and that's where that communication and teamwork is so important in pairs.
So the other great thing about this event this year, the prize money is actually doubled, Rob. So it's a $20,000 event this year, and everyone's really enjoyed themselves here too. That was
Look, I think
a
you're
beautiful
the same
line
sort
he
of
had
thing
going
again.
in,
If you're
Ben.
into yours, you're good. Just
Victoria,
around to there.
and
well.
yeah, it certainly attracted plenty of people here
Yeah,
this
they got
afternoon
second and
over the
third,
course
yeah.
of the last few days.
Yeah, that's a bit of an undersung part of this whole tournament, Rick, isn't it, when you think about it, where you've got people coming here from interstate and other parts of the state, staying in Launceston and, enjoying the evening last night and Friday night, which is
Figure around.
makes this a really, really important community event here at the East Launceston Bowls and Community Club.
Look at that.
McMullen just sliding past there, so it's three bowl pairs. This is the format, and the last one for this first end here for Ben Winter from Victoria. So 15 ends, and you can just hear in the effects mic a little bit tight.
Now.
The final bowl here for McMullen. This
Out there a
opening
little
end
bit
of the
more.
quarter-final, the Viking.
See, they've got the wind behind them too,
Yep.
and it's a fairly strong breeze.
Up the leg.
Just seen that, haven't we? We've seen a few bowls already just
Oh,
fly past, but he's got his line and length pretty good here, Rowdy. So that completes the first end.
Yeah, there's no room for error in this, is there? The moving quickly, 15 ends.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no messing around. That breeze, as you can probably just pick up, is unfortunately picking up just a little bit too. Plenty of entertainment. We see the musicians are setting up here. For those not familiar with the East Launceston Bowls Club, it's an absolutely spot on location, isn't it, Rob? It's just sitting on top of the city virtually.
Yeah, it is, and it's the weather's not looking after us just at the moment, but sitting out here on that deck with a cold fizzy beverage of a Friday afternoon is something that happens a lot. The social bowls they have up here, Rick, is very popular and hard to get into. I think such is the demand for it, but they've done a great job here at the club. Darryl Chellis deck, as you can see there, it's a beautiful area and a lot of people enjoying it at the early stages of today.
Certainly enjoy coming up here, frequent up here occasionally on a Friday afternoon. Good way to finish the week, or start the week for me, I guess, with work quite often. So, the Tom Vlahos on the mat here at the moment, along with young Ollie Morrison.
Tom was telling me, Rick, he journeyed over last year and enjoyed it so much he came back this year and he brought his son with him, which is fantastic. I could see him up there in the Joondalup wind cheater. Woody?
Everyone's pretty rugged up at the moment, let me tell you. We're sitting on 14 degrees here at the moment.
Wind had been knocking a couple of degrees off that, I reckon. I must admit, I did notice you've got the shorts. I almost went the shorts this morning.
Bad move.
Lovely.
The Dutch blood in me, Rob. Generally don't feel the cold that much, but I must admit as a local I am this morning.
It's been a real box of chocolates, hasn't it, the weather here recently? I mean, I'm sure our listeners and viewers across Tasmania would know crazy weather we've had.
So, the chocolates are a bit all over the place here, aren't they? On this this second end, they're still adjusting and getting used to the. Obviously, we've had some water on here, of course, with very early morning rain, and it will take a couple of ends, but it's 15 ends.
And I think the breeze, that is a factor as well, particularly given the strength of it. So, just
and it is quite exposed up here as well. We are on top of a hill, and coming from the west-northwest at the moment, there's not a lot of shelter from that wind. They've been winter now. We'll update the scoreboard shortly after this end. Beautiful line. It's not a bad spot there, though. Rolling to just over a metre behind the jack there.
Nice back bowl.
Always good to have some protection. And it might be just a little tight here. No.
Well, he's not happy with that one. He sort of flicked the towel around. He was narrow and not the weight that he wanted either.
They have a lot of high expectations, don't they, Rob?
He does. And perhaps our new listeners mightn't know that Rob McMullen, the 2022 Australian Open singles champion. So it's just one of the glittering achievements on his resume.
He's had a great couple of years. Just clapped his hands here. I'm not sure if he's happy or not, but he's put a bit of extra weight on here. There's a back ball. That's just going to slide through, so that's a nice spot. Ollie likes it as well. A lot of action going on because there's also another event being played at the same time. Such was the interest, Rob, in going in this event this year that they've actually got another event happening at East Launceston called the Zodiac. So that was just to fill in with all the people that wanted to take part and create a second event, which is great.
Fantastic.
All right.
Measures come out.
Yes. You really need a steady hand, don't you? I hate measuring.
Absolutely. See what this looks like. Looks like Blahos got the shot.
So shot there to McMullen and Morrison. And that completes the second end. So great to have your company wherever you might be watching here. We are at the East Launceston Bowls Club for the Viking 2024. It is quarter-final stages, and we'll have live coverage of the semi-final and the final, which will be happening a little later this afternoon as well. And at the moment, we are with Tom Blahos, who's probably just under a metre short. It's the third end. Ollie Morrison, the Longford Bowls Club, partnering here with Rob McMullen. They've gone through undefeated. This is a beautiful line if he's got the length. And
brilliant, brother.
He's got that spot on. That's a magnificent bowl from Ollie Morrison. Blahos got in turn. This one's just a bit narrow. Good length, but see that wind taking it out. Just over a metre wide as well. So just not getting the line right there. But Morrison had that absolute beauty. And he's going to cover it. It's pretty smart bowling if it can just sit well and truly. So he's got that sitting probably about 1.5 metres past the kitty. Pretty smart bowl there, Rob. He came up with a beauty to get shot, and at some stage you'd think that Blahos and Winther are going to have to attack, and he's got some good coverage over the back. This is a very, very good looking bowl too. And is he going to displace him? Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it? Just rolls the wrong way at the end, but that's a beautiful bowl from Tom Blahos, the West Australian.
And again, Rick, very, very highly credentialed bowlers, as we've touched on, and the fact that we've got people travelling here from WA and interstate from New South Wales says a lot about the standard and the reputation of this relatively new event.
That's right. It certainly does, and it doesn't take long in the bowls community for word to spread. Alongside us, we've got bean bags here, and we'll see the corporate boxes, people starting to arrive as well. They'll be kicking back, sitting back, enjoying a beverage or two and some fine food, and having a great afternoon.
It's great to see them supporting the local events as well. I mean, it's what's got to happen, isn't there, for more events to take place? And as we've said, full credit to the East Launceston Bowls and Community Club on their initiative in setting this one up.
The early stages here on the third end. McMullen and Morrison, first couple of shots, one on each end. If you've just joined us, Ben Winther now. This is a very good line here. Oh, is he going to draw away just? Oh, yeah, a bit stiff there. Wasn't far away from being a perfect bowl.
Seeing them starting to find their range a bit now too, Rick, after a couple of ends. Obviously one into the breeze and one against, and doesn't take them long at this level.
You can hear Rowdy. He's just a little worried. If he was to, interested to see if he's going to come on the backhand by the looks of it, because we see this a lot, don't we? Where you put the foot out and hope that you get it exactly where your partner wants it to go. So he's given this a lot of width. And that's going to come in nicely and not be in a bad spot. And when you look at where that, where Ollie's bowl is, then you can see that if he does displace it, you would think that that kitty is probably going to go quite close to where, or in the line at least, of where McMullen's bowl is at right now after that last one. So Ben Winther came up with a beauty last time. It was a bit stiff. He's got a good line happening here as well. This is must be a repeat. Just look at that wind.
A little touch on the way through there too.
And not insignificant what role the wind is playing here at the moment, Rob. It is really taking, making it very hard to get that line. It's going to take the bowlers a bit of time, because it has picked up from what it was maybe even an hour ago.
Yeah, I saw Rob McMullen in a state pairs final. I think at Burnie it was 12, 18 months ago. And again, reminiscent, Rick, of the wind. People would often think, oh, well, you know, they're heavy bowls. It has no impact at all. But it certainly does. And our viewers, I'm sure, can see that at the moment. Sides that adjust to the conditions best and quickest will certainly set themselves up for a good result.
So Rob's just come down for a bit of a sticky beak here. His final bowl of this third end. So they do have the wind behind their back where they are at the clubhouse end of the East Launceston Bowls Club. See the Darryl Chellis deck is just starting to fill up a little bit more. And here comes Rob McMullen. And I love the environment they've got here too, Rob, as we just watch this final bowl. And this one just going to slide on by too. So, and watching that all unfold is Ben Winter, and he's just seen Rowdy there and see what he's got. The great Chris Lee comes past us as well. Very strong interest in Rowdy McMullen here. Might have to get him on special comments a bit later. Very popular bowler, Chris Lee, saying g'day to us.
Highly capable bowler.
My
too.
word, he is. Invermay Bowls Club, father-in-law of Rob, and daughter Jess taking part too. A very, very good bowler. All right, final bowl of this third end. Gone very wide there, so it is going to be a shot going the way of McMullen and Morrison. So, I mean, the good news for Vlahos and Winter is we're 3 ends down, but it's 3-0 the scoreline, so things can change pretty quickly. It only takes an end sometimes.
That's right.
So, even though they're not on the scoreboard yet, not a lot of damage done.
No, that's right, and you can rebound very, very quickly, can't you? If you have a couple of very good ends, you know, get a couple of threes or something like that.
Yep. I think Morrison's really got his length going well here at the moment. That one's just about a metre from the kitty.
I think that's one of the exciting things too, Rick, with young bowlers, and we see it all the time, don't we? They don't have any fear, do they? They're just
they don't.
learning the game and just taking it on.
What sort of bowler are you? Are you a timid bowler, Rob, or you like to have a bit of a crack?
No, like to have a bit of a crack.
Yeah.
The drive has always been my friend. Only a social bowler, never a competitive bowler in a pennant sense, but competitive when I'm playing social bowls.
This is a beautiful bowl from Ollie. Again, spot on. Gee, that's beautiful.
It hasn't taken him long to find his range at all.
No, certainly hasn't. Yeah, I mentioned before, Rob, obviously Rowdy with part of the Tasmania Tridents and doing very well with them as well. I think that's too far away, actually, to BPL next month, I think. The environment here that we've got is very similar. You're right on top of the bowls on both sides with spectators, and as you can probably hear now, the music has started as well. So it's a great atmosphere. Hasn't bowls changed from in the last 5 years?
Yeah, you're spot on, and full credit to clubs that have embraced that, because I guess it's a bit like like many things, isn't it, Rick? If you want to engage with new people and younger people, you've got to listen to that. We've got some music there in the background, and it's just warming up. We've got some beautiful food nearby, and it's a really nice, and again, a family atmosphere. If you have a look around, there's some families filling up some of the booths at the moment.
Absolutely. And the sun's coming out, Rob.
Oh, might have to get rid of the Tassie tuxedo.
Gracious me.
It's all happening.
No, Tom Vlahos just going to tuck inside there. That's not a bad bowl. That's probably second. Holding second and third there at the moment, but as they switch over. So if you're just joining us, this is the quarterfinals of the Viking 2024 edition, the second edition here at the East Launceston Bowls Club. Nice to have you with us. Rick Fontaine and Rob Soward with you. And watching through Roundtable Studio through YouTube or the Facebook page. It's great to have you. And hopefully you're settling back and enjoying what should be a terrific afternoon of bowls.
Yeah, you're looking around here and you're seeing some faces watching on who haven't made it through to this stage. So certainly says a lot about the calibre, Rick, of the remaining 8 entrants, quarter-final stage. I should say 8 entrants, I should say 8 teams, but some very, very highly credentialed bowlers out here at the moment, and particularly in the match that we're calling. As we've said, Vlahos and Winther have done it respectively in their home states.
Yep, so Winther, the Victorian, and I think you mentioned playing in New South Wales. He's a good bowler there. Just didn't have enough weight to push Morrison's bowl forward here, but it shows you it's actually very evenly matched. They're doing it in ones at the moment, And that wasn't far off from Winter. As Rowdy's just going to slide on by there.
And that's where it's exciting too for the viewers, Rick, in that you can have, you could say, well, Morrison, McMullen, won those 3 ends. They've only got 3 shots to show for it.
That's it.
A good end or two from Blahos and Winter, and things can change up pretty quickly.
Yeah, you got a bit more oomph on this bowl. As you got the line right, it's just going to go past. So, the final bowl of this 4th end here for McMullen. They lead 3-zip at the moment. So Rowdy's got a good line here. Just going to come in.
Oh.
So it's pretty close, probably a 3rd shot there. So not a bad spot though, but he's going to. Winter coming in on the backhand again. Solid looking bowl. It's going to slide by. Is he going to touch something on the way? He's not, unfortunately. So 1 shot again. They continue to do it in ones, Rob Soward.
Yeah.
That score goes to 4-zip as we head to the 5th end. So that'll be the 3rd of the way through this quarter-final. So 15 ends.
It's they are doing it in ones, but I guess the thing that sort of starts to happen shortly, Rick, is that still a very gettable lead. No problems bringing that back, but we've chipped 4 ends away out of the 15, haven't we? So you start to get to that point, don't you, where you start to get that added pressure of running out of ends and also then needing to produce the shots, which then you take risks. Maybe they pay off, maybe they don't.
And sport is like that, isn't it? Psychologically, they haven't won an end yet. But if you can block that out and know that you're only 4 down with 10 to go. And Morrison's made another great start. Look at this for an opening bowl. His line's been fantastic when you consider the conditions here at the moment. It's cool, it's windy, it's a bit tricky, it's swirling quite a bit, the wind as well.
Absolutely. And playing that, a different sort of setup than what they'd be used to maybe in Pennant. But one of the things we saw last year, Rick, is that sometimes at these type of events, you've got guys that might be paired up who are leads in their home club. Different event when you obviously you can't both be a lead here. So just how people adjust to that, and certainly at the moment, Morrison, he's been fantastic, and the way he's complemented and set things up for McMullen's been terrific.
Certainly has been very impressive early. And I'll tell you what, he's come up with another good one here too. Rob, look at that. 2 great bowls to start the 5th end here from young Ollie Morrison. Longford Bowls Club at about 20 minutes out of Launceston. Lovely club too out there. Famous sporting town.
Absolutely.
You couldn't not be called the Tigers out there, could you? I think every sporting team is the Tigers.
They are, and the local footy that we did a few weeks ago, Rick, they won the reserves, got through to the grand final in the seniors. That very, very strong bowls club, as I mentioned earlier. State champions 2 seasons ago, Northern champions last season, and in what was a super playoff series there for the state title. The Kingborough one, but all 3 sides all taking a match, and it came down to a shot differential.
Yeah. 3 outstanding bowls here from Ollie Morrison, so a bit of pressure here on Vlahos. Really needs to get one in there. I always enjoy watching the individual quirks and styles that bowlers have, and it is all about consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, he's very, very heavy there. I'm not sure what he was trying to do. He missed a lot.
They've got a lot of work to do here. Pressure on Ben Winter, who pretty chilled though, doesn't he? Got to say.
He's. We had a chat to him as you said before, and I think he stepped straight out of the fridge. Rick, he's
nothing much flushed as him.
Pretty cool customer, and Google told us that he's the 2024-25 Club Mount Lewis Pairs champion in New South Wales, and knowing the standard of bowlers bowling there, it can just show you the ability he has. That's for sure.
saw Josh Walker-Davis, didn't we, last year? He fine bowler, number 1 bowler. And
he was almost having a sleep between ends, wasn't he?
Nothing wrong with having a beer and a smoke while you're at it.
No, very relaxed customer, Josh Walker-Davis.
I'll tell you what, Ollie Morrison is impressing everyone out here at the moment as the crowd continues to build and going for a drive, and that's almost had to happen, didn't it?
Yeah.
You had to kill it. So, and have a look at him behind Rowdy there again. Very chilled, looking at the music, nodding his head. He's into it. He's having a great time. Bowls is not secondary, but he's happy.
I guess it's one of those sports, and I guess, Rick, we can see it in most sports, don't we?
That's good.
Gee,
At the elite level, it's a lovely bowl. Yeah. At the elite level, just being able to keep your emotions in check and keep cool, you know, and obviously brings success, doesn't it?
Indeed, it does. So that was good from Winter. Rowdy's come up with a very nice bowl. Now, got to try and draw a shot here. Try and get him on the scoreboard. The line's looking quite good. If you can, you'll get inside that bowl from McMullen. And it just needs to drive forward. And has finished. Yeah, he's probably finished a bit over a metre short there. So I suspect McMullen's probably got the shot bowl at the moment. This is his last one. Around his own bowl here. This is again a good line if it can just sit, and yeah, almost identical to his last one. So might be holding a couple here, I think, Rob.
Yeah.
So this is a really important bowl, final bowl on this 5th end for Winter. Is a picture of concentration looking at him, and it needs to try and get a bit of weight. He's probably got the weight if it can run a bit more.
Not sure if he's done enough there.
Having a good look at it here. I think Ollie's looks pretty chilled. He's just thinking we might have shot here, but they're going to measure. If in doubt, this is what you do. You got to. Because it can look very different when you walk 360 around there. So it's 2 shots. So 2 shots away of McMullen and Morrison.
The alarm bells would be starting to gently ring, I'd suggest there, Rick, for Vlahos and Winther.
Yep. Takes the score now to 6-0. McMullen and Morrison as we head to the 6th end of this quarter-final. They've made a very strong start.
Third of the way through, and this is where the that implied pressure starts to come from, doesn't it?
My word, it does. Yeah, it does. Really important here for Vlahos to try and get off to a good start. First bowl of Morrison's did finish around a metre short. And Vlahos, he's going to finish about just, boy, that's rolled on.
Yeah,
looked like it was going to be short initially, but he's got to within probably just over a foot. So that's a good start.
Just a little lull in the breeze there too, Rick. Luck was a fortune there for him.
The sun's out, and it was. Yeah, Morrison's going to finish inside as well, and says, well, anything you can do, I'll trump you, and he's done it again.
Gain that energy of youth. He's they know no fear, these young fellas, do they?
No, spoken about it already, and very true. This generation, in many cases.
I think the great thing too, Rick, it showcases the exciting talent in young Tasmanian bowlers at the moment. We had some great success at national level, I think, 12 months or so ago with a a gold medal winning performance, and some really exciting young talent on the list of names I saw up in this event. So Ollie Morrison, certainly one of those.
Get inside and he will. That's another good bowl. So there's a couple of shots, Ollie Morrison, but there's a fair bit of daylight there. He's got plenty to work with here, Vlahos. So he can get through. He certainly could try and draw a shot here, and certainly not desperate stakes by any stretch just yet, but this one is, well, this one's way off. So that's finished a fair way short. So just struggling a little here, Vlahos, isn't he? Just hasn't been able to get into any sort of rhythm or consistency with his line and length on most occasions, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's been in stark contrast. It's probably been magnified by the fact that Morrison's been on the mark from the get-go, hasn't he?
Yeah,
so it's certainly something that they've got to address before this match gets away from them.
So, Rowdy McMullen, been with the Ulverston Bowls Club. I said earlier, about to head to Essendon.
They could probably use
Same
him in a
colours.
forward pocket, I reckon, Rick, too, if he's got nothing to do of a Saturday afternoon for the AFL side.
And I reckon he's just rolled in a third there at the moment. But we just said there is plenty of daylight there still on this end. Plenty to work with for Winther now. He has started this one out pretty wide. Is it going to come in and start the drawing now as that wind picks up a little bit? Once again, it's really tricky at the moment, but that's an outstanding bowl. And if that can roll, doesn't quite. So down to that. Ollie Morrison, you could probably hear in the mic. That was a fine bowl from Winther. So is this the little turn? We'll wait and see what McMullen's got now. If he disturbs the pack there, he might just roll Ollie into shot, and I reckon he probably has. Yep, he has. So it was a very smart bowl, wasn't it, Rob, from Morrison there, from McMullen, sorry.
Absolutely.
So from one down to one up. It's the teamwork there again, you know. It's not about you getting the shot, it's about knocking your teammates' bowl up, and that's exactly what he did. So final bowl coming up here of the 16th from McMullen. Struggle to hear us soon, Rob.
What was that, sorry?
People, yeah, see, my point exactly. As the music starts to crank up here at the East Lonnie Bowls Club. Now, back to the bowls. Now, Winther, this is a huge bowl in the context of the game. It's just going to die away. Anything could have happened then, but I reckon it might just be one. They're going to have a measure.
Ollie's chewing on the fingernails.
Yeah, he's not quite sure.
Might have just done enough. We'll just see.
From the naked eye, it looks as though that's the case, but yep, so they have got the shot. So it's another one to Team McMullen and Morrison. And Vlahos and Winther still looking for their first shot. So 7-0 is the scoreline right at the moment as we get towards the mid stages of this match, but it almost sort of becomes a must-win end here, really, doesn't it? You just get that feeling it just can't. It's only building slowly, but it's steady.
Yeah, you sort of feel like they've got to not just win this end, Rick, but pick up a couple of shots anyway, just to put a little bit of a dent in that margin.
Bit of confidence.
Yeah, and then control the mat as well. And you've sort of got to do that, don't you? Try and change things up a bit.
Well, you do, because we're really seeing the same at each end at the moment. They're really dictating the state of the game, McMullen and Morrison at the moment. So it's a very good point you make, Rob Soward. You can get that matter to be interesting to see what strategy they go with in terms of changing it over.
And I reckon even for the sake of changing the length, even though it might not be their own preference, just something to try and shake things up a bit here.
Yep. Morrison's come up with another beauty. Geez, I've been impressed with this young man and appreciated by the crowd in the background. Continues to build here at the East Launceston Bowls Club.
Probably a result too, Rick, of the excellent junior development out there at Longford. There's been some really talented young bowlers come through there, and I know Mark Stroschnetter, who has had some coaching experience with the Tasmanian Tridents.
Indeed.
He does a lot of work out there and has over the years with the young bowlers. Mark, obviously a very highly credentialed bowler himself, and he's in action on a rink over there not too far from us in his quarterfinal, so we may get to see him a bit later.
Speaking of laid back, not many more laid back than him either.
No.
Punching a sausage roll down or so at the moment as well. Here's lunchtime.
I did see that, yeah.
There's another great bowl. So three terrific bowls from Morrison. Said this is 3 bowl pairs. $20,000 prize money, 12 grand, Rob, if you don't mind, to the winner.
I was going to say, what we might have to do, Rick, is put in about 12 months of practice and give up the microphones next year. It's a bit more lucrative, I think, on the green.
Yeah.
I'd have to up my game a bit. I know you're a bowler, so I'd have to put in a bit of practice over the winter, I reckon.
Bowl off, yep. Need a few more indoor facilities, don't we? Here in Launceston. You got some contacts at the council, mate.
I was going to say we need to have a word to some of those councillors. I did see the mayor's going to be here later.
He will be here later on today. We might have to get him, get the headphones on him.
We'll get hold of him. And wonderful indoor facility down the northwest coast.
Oh, word of Burnie, yep, South Burnie.
I think too that I did hear the Australian Open, I think, is coming to Tasmania next year
Devonport,
as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Devonport Country Club.
Speaking of magnificent facilities out there, that is, that will be. So that's a massive coup.
I think we'll have to have a talk to Bowls Australia on that one and leave Rinkside Clive in WA. Rick, you and I will get on the microphone.
And that's going to scoot on by. So they're under all sorts of pressure here. Blahos and Winter on this end. I'll be holding about 4 shots here at the moment, I think. I reckon McMullen will be intent on trying to block a bit here. He's going to put one down the back. So again, smart bowls.
Probably Winter's most important bowl he's had today. He's got one left after this one.
So McMullen's got the back covered, and I suspect you'll probably, depending on what happens here, this one looks narrow. It is, so that's going to slide on back. So Ollie Morrison pretty well saying that we need come out on the backhand here, give us a bit of protection out here. Listen to him, and he's pretty well put it on the 20-cent piece.
Yeah, Ollie likes that.
Yeah, well, this is a very big bowl for Ben. They're staring down at a few here at the moment. He's put a bit of weight on this, but this is narrow too, and it's
could be a handful here.
Yeah, no, I reckon there's at least
He's knocked 3 out and they're going to measure for the 4th, I think.
I think he's very close to having a 4th here. Certainly from our vantage spot. Look at that great camera work there from James Calvert on the camera. Look at that. Well, it's, it definitely looks like going to be 4. It is. So, wow, that's huge. So, as we head to the 8th end, it's 11-0 Rob Soward.
Yeah.
And this is sort of when you get to, maybe another 3 or 4 ends and you might see a handshake and thing, unless things improve pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we have said throughout it that things can turn around quickly, but on what we're seeing so far, Rick, particularly after that end, I mean, there's big work to be done from Vlahos and Winter. I mean, Morrison's leading off has just been absolutely terrific. I mean, I think a couple of ends in a row there we had 3 you just put on the spot, didn't we? You throw a hanky over them.
Absolutely. No, we must thank, of course, the partners of this event, Furniture City, who are the naming rights of the 2024 Viking here at the East Launceston Bowls Club. So big thanks to Furniture City, and also to our platinum partners, Pool Mart, Harcourts Launceston, also Hillwood Berries, Dev Design, and the Plough Inn. Very fine establishment, the Plough Inn. Some good meals down there.
Absolutely.
And the great thing about these events in Launceston, Rob, is, and great example of it here today, they're all local businesses.
Yeah.
They love to get behind their local events.
They do, and again, the fact that you've got a local club like East Launceston showing the initiative to organise a great event like this and to see that wonderful support from the local businesses you mentioned, Rick. It's what makes these things possible, and the locals turning up here in droves today. We can see the crowd starting to build, despite the fact that it's still a little bit iffy, the weather, but they're starting to roll in, which is great.
Just looking down the river where a lot of it comes from, you can see a little bit of cloud, but behind it looks pretty blue.
It's a good thing, because by the time we get to the final, I might end up losing the Tassie tuxedo. I've still got that on. A little lazy old breeze here at the moment, as we've talked about. The flags are fluttering there in the background that I'm sure get picked up when we're running towards the club room end. Look a bit like my dog's been up on a couple of those flags there, Rick. The wind's played a bit of havoc with them.
Well, of course, we had those terrible winds about 4 or 5 weeks ago now that I don't think I've ever copped worse winds overseas, but in terms of here in our city, I don't think we've had much worse than that night. We had a lot of storm damage.
No, I actually went out and found I had a fence on the ground, which wasn't good, but I think the thing, it was relentless, wasn't it, for a number of days?
Yep. So they switch over. Vlahos, they've got the shot bowl at the moment, but Ollie Morrison got right in front of the camera at the minute. He hasn't listened to instructions, has he? Now he's popped out of the way for us, thank you. And look at Rowdy's come up with.
Oh.
So we're shot down to 1 up.
Oh.
These two, well, they've gone through the weekend undefeated so far, and strong pairing from northern Tasmania have been extremely impressive.
Well, Morrison, he's done the commentator killer. We've talked him up, and that's probably his worst end for a little while.
Yep.
But McMullen just comes straight back and just puts it right on the spot, as you say. Turns a 1 down into a 1 up.
So McMullen now. Here it comes. He's got beautiful pace here again, and that's a nice spot too. It's going about just under a metre past. So the winner will go through to the semi-finals. Coming up a little later this afternoon, the final as well, of course, to follow. So a packed afternoon of bowls. A bit of extra weight there from Winter, but again, just a bit too wide, just can't get it near the kitty at the moment.
They've been almost relentless, haven't they, Morrison and McMullen, just being able to put it on the spot. Certainly a big part of why they're out to that 11-0 lead.
Yeah.
And it's not that Vlahos and Winthrop have bowled poorly. It's just McMullen and Morrison have just been more consistent. Didn't feed that one enough. It's a little short from Rowdy.
Yeah, Rowdy a little disappointed himself, apologising to Morrison. So it does leave the... He did ask about who was on the tee, because I think he can probably see what Winther's going to try and do here. And Winther has got a bowl on the tee at the moment. And he'll be looking to get his line right here. And I'll tell you what, he's not far off. He's done that very, very well. But unfortunately, I think he's going to find it hasn't changed anything. It hasn't. Still going to be at least one. Bit unlucky there, wasn't he? The right idea, he got his line completely right there. And they're going to measure for 2.
Mitch Billings just sitting behind the head, and he said it's 2, so we'll see if he's right. Measures out.
He's got good eyes.
Local knows the green as well. Mitch Billing.
So
it's 2.
It is 2. So
take it to the bank.
They extend their lead, and it's now 13-0 after 8 ends. Still 7 ends to go, but they just can't get a crack of it. Even just one, as you said, Rob Sauer, they've got to change things up.
And we've seen that in different tournaments, haven't we, where, you know, just changing things up, it throws the other side off their game a little, and you know, gives you a chance. But as things are at the moment, it's a long road back for Vlahos and Winther.
Morrison finishing a fair way short there. But this is do or die now, isn't it, really? Ninth end, they've just got to get that mat. It means everyone has to adjust. You're back to square one a little bit as you get used to the end, because the conditions are tricky. Sun's in, it's out, the wind's up, it's down, it's changing direction as well. So...
beautiful opener there from Vlahos.
Yep.
If Morrison can re-find his radar, his last end was probably a little loose by his standards.
Got a beautiful style, hasn't he? Just follows through very nicely.
Very relaxed.
And he's certainly on the money a bit more here too. Right on it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a great correction. The music going, it's a festive atmosphere here, isn't it, Rob Sauer?
It is.
Not quite out of your chair just yet.
No, certainly very nice, relaxing, setting the groove music. Listeners will be lucky we're not singing along.
Very.
Shouldn't be critical of you, Rick. I just know that they wouldn't want to hear me singing. You would have, I'm sure, a much better singing voice than me. I sing pretty well in the car with the volume turned up. Morrison, after that little wild first one, has certainly nailed it with his next 2, and they're the 2 shots at the moment.
One thing we will try to do, see if we can get some of the volunteers here doing an amazing job to try and get some score updates from our other quarterfinals as well. So as soon as we have those, ladies and gentlemen, we'll publicise them and get them across, because The action is going to continue pretty soon after the quarterfinals. We'll be straight into the semis, so we'll be showing one of the two semi-finals. Organisers will let us know which one that will be once we know, and then of course the final a little bit later on this afternoon. Lovely stuff there from Rowdy. Holding 3 here at the moment, dominating this contest from the very beginning.
It's better. Oh, beautifully done. Knocked one out for sure. Lovely bowl there from Ben Winter. Really critical in the scheme of things. They need to come away with shots on this end, Blahos and Winter. No doubt about that. They're running out of ends. McMullen got his waving at it. Going to be a bit narrow. Weight was all right, but just narrow. Again, very important bowl here from Winter. His second. Last bowl was an absolute ripper. Took one of Morrison's out. This isn't too bad either. That is just right on the mark. Beautiful bowl, Ben Winter.
Just what the doctor ordered.
It did. So well, all of a sudden,
much needed.
All of a sudden, a couple down to a couple up by the looks. Now the pressure shifts slightly back on the McMullen. Obviously, in the context of this end, they're comfortable on the scoreboard, but I'll certainly want to wrest control back on this end, and that's just a bit narrow. I love that effects, Mike, don't you?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Because so it looks like it might just be one, and this is probably pretty smart. I think Ben's just making his way down and wants to get this right, because the last thing he wants to do here is knock the bowl out. So he's going to stick to the forehand, try and draw. I believe it's just one shot at the moment. Played this one very nicely, very, very, very nicely. That is a fantastic bowl, and looks like certainly 2 shots. So that's a great last couple of bowls there from Ben Winter, Rob. They're going to measure for a third.
Absolutely critical. I mean, gee, if they could turn this into a 3, Rick, this would be just what the doctor ordered.
This is pretty tight. Might be 3, so it is. Well, that's a big one for the team of Tom Vlahos, the West Australian, and Ben Winter from Victoria. They're after 9 ends, they've won their first, but they've got 3. So that brings them back to 10, but it also builds confidence, and it gives them the mat, Rob Soward.
Yeah,
let's see what they're going to do here.
I'm champing at the bit to see what they do here with this, Rick. Now they've got the mat back.
I reckon they're
got the mat, I should say.
I reckon they're going to try and, they're certainly shortening the end a little here. See where that kitty is, so that definitely a shorter end, so it's going to be interesting to see the adjustment, which is going to impact all 4 of them, of course. They have been playing at a very consistent long length for the first 9 ends. Now as we head to the 10th end, the final third of this contest.
Chip away with a couple, pinch 2 or 3 on this one, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of a light in the door opening, isn't there?
Yeah. But Rowdy and Ben Winter are sharing a bit of a joke down the other end, and very chilled.
Ooh.
We already said that's a nice start from Tommy Vlahos.
Toucher. Yeah, I think Winther a little more relaxed on this end after the results of the last end. Nicely done there from Morrison. Ooh.
Very nice bowl here. Very nice bowl again, and all of a sudden,
He's really found his range on the last couple of ends, has Tom Vlahos.
he has. So Morrison coming in now. It's not a bad bowl. Just sitting out at the back there, just rolling past by probably about under a couple of metres. We've bathed in sunshine, Rob, for the first time today.
Absolutely. Bit of that ominous black cloud back over the river, but at least for the next little while, Rick,
the other way, Rob.
Lovely, lovely sunshine. Crowd enjoying it. They're starting to roll in.
Vlahos following this bowl down. It's always a good sign as a bowler sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always good to see.
Just a little bit of a bounce in their step again. They need to try and back it up with another end here too.
Oh, look at that. Oh.
Beautifully done.
It's a beautiful bow. He's promoted it towards the Vlahos bowls, but Morrison right on the money there with a toucher.
This is a tough spot here for McMullen, I think, too, because see, there is certainly some daylight between that front bowl of Morrison's and his bowl just to the right of the kitty. He's got some bowl at the back as well, but this is probably where Winther's headed to. It's smart. But what's McMullen going to do here?
And it just changes it up a bit too, doesn't it, Rick, now that, you know, we've had that change in ownership of the mat. Rowdy's got to play a different sort of a game. He's going at the back as well.
Yep. Sure, it's exactly what he was wanting. He's trying to get through that gap there between Morrison's front bowl to try and disturb it. At the moment, looks as though they might have a couple here.
Another back bowl for Winther.
So a couple of bowls remaining here for McMullen. Again, just didn't quite get his line right. No, and that one's going to go into the gutter. So, a lot closer on that occasion, but he's got one more chance. Winther will roll it in. And done. He's knocked one out, so still got a couple. Ollie Morrison saying same again. Oh, he's got a shout now, doesn't he?
He does. Hootie and the Blowfish. Haven't heard them for a while, and well, didn't mind a bit of Hootie and the Blowfish back in the day.
See if Rowdy can blow a couple of bowls out here. He's got a better line going here. Whoa. Look at that. And his bowl, he got the toucher as well. And that's outstanding, isn't it?
It's like two.
What a final bowl that was.
Yeah.
Followed it into the ditch and picks up a couple, and things can just change, bang, like that.
It's a cruel game, isn't it? I mean, you look at Vlahos and Winter on that end. You know, Vlahos led beautifully, and everything on their terms, Rick, till that last bowl.
Absolutely. Now, just some updates for you. Thanks to Paul Costello, who's given us some updates on the other quarterfinals. Lording and Carver are up 11 and 11-8 over Banks and Banks. Strochstetter is up 8-5, Rob.
Terrific.
Over Appleyard and Bellchambers. Last year's winners, of course, here at the Viking. Josh Appleyard and Bailey Bellchambers. They're down 5-8. And Matthew Mitchell's up over Josh Walker-Davis, 12-11. So very tight there. So thanks to Paul for the update there. We'll try to keep everyone up to date with what's happening on the others. So this is quarterfinal action of the Viking. Our focus here at the moment is McMullen and Morrison, who are doing it nicely after that incredible final bowl there for McMullen. Turned 2 down to 2 up. They're leading at 15-3.
And I can guarantee our listeners and viewers, Rick, just looking across the green now, Josh Walker-Davis, despite that 12-11 scoreline, looking one of the most relaxed men on the planet, as he usually is.
Beer in hand, Rob?
No beer at the moment. It's a bit early, but I'm sure as the day goes on, if they continue,
Hasn't stopped him before.
I'm sure he'll need to top his fluids up.
He's an outstanding bowler and been in great form for a long time now. Doing himself and Tassie proud. So, a couple of very tight ones over there.
And we talked about, the mental element of bowls. I mean, you just have to wonder what's going on in Vlahos and Winter's mind at the moment after that last bowl from Rowdy McMullen. I mean, gee whiz, on their terms, McMullen did his team proud with a beautiful bowl and captured 2 shots.
Yep, Morrison with a couple of good bowls. This is a nice one here from Vlahos, and that is it's actually shot bowl there. McMullen just saying to Ollie Morrison, we're down. Well, everything's got to go right now for Vlahos and Winter. They've basically got to win every end.
Yeah, and obviously multiples as well. They need a couple of
Morrison
big numbers.
Has responded magnificently here. Sorry to interrupt, Rob, but so from 2 up to 1 down, back to 1 up. So this is great to watch.
Yeah, it is. I hope our listeners and viewers are enjoying this as much as we are, because they're putting on an absolute clinic at the moment, aren't they?
Well, it's a good point, because I was just about to say we're seeing all 4 bowlers really at the moment are bowling well. I mean, that last end was probably the best end of the match so far.
Yeah.
This one is just going to finish a little bit short from Vlahos, but that 10th end, it was just outstanding bowls, and I think everyone can shake hands and at the end and say well done when you've come up with something better, because no luck involved, just great skill.
And that's right, and that's where sometimes the scoreline doesn't always tell the full story of it, you know. As we called, Rick, and you highlighted a number of times, early doors, a lot of singles, and then you started to open up a bit for McMullen and Morrison.
Yep. So they're holding 1 at the moment here on the 11th end. And that might be about to change. Look at this. Is it going to come through the little door there? Just finishing a little short. That was a lovely bowl from Rowdy. Said he's heading over to play with Essendon this season.
Yeah. Very strong competition, that Victorian competition.
Well, here we go. Here's a big drive coming there and disturbing the peace. But not making any difference to the scoreline at the moment.
I know that competition it gets a lot of interest, Rick, on the live stream. I know quite a few people who tune in Friday evening and at times and have a look at that. Very, very good bowlers in that competition, and Essendon, one of the very, very strong clubs. Strong Tasmanian connection over the years.
He's a great fella too, Rowdy. He loves himself. Tassie loves himself on just enjoying the bowls. He's very much about having fun out there and talking to the opposition, and he just loves it. He just really enjoys being out there playing and being a part of it all. And I think this atmosphere, and it is a great atmosphere out here, We said a little earlier, quite reminiscent to what's going on in the BPL at the moment, and he's really excelled since being promoted to the Tassie Tridents.
He has. Absolute class act and class person as well. I mean, you mentioned the connection with Chris Lee and Jess McMullen, his wife. I know in times past, Rick, they've all done a lot down there for the junior development at Invermay, which hopefully will yield the Swampies some success in years to come.
Yeah, it's very nicely done once again. Tell you what, the great thing about the sun is it's warming up a little bit, but it impacts the sight, doesn't it, a little bit?
It does, it does.
Balloons flying into the sky. Some kid will be in tears, I think, Rob, as we see a few balloons someone's let go.
We might hear that in the
about to explode in that tree in front of us. Right, Winther now. What can he do here as he tries to disturb the piece again? He's got a good line going.
Oh.
Well, he's knocked one out, but still going to be a shot. So one shot to McMullen. So as we head to the 12th end now, it is 16-3. So the margin is 13. 4 ends remaining. So it doesn't take much to work out that this end is, well, it's absolutely crucial.
Yeah, and it's a multiple. They need, they need numbers.
Yeah.
And that implied pressure. The great advantage that McMullen and Morrison enjoy, Rick, not just on the scoreboard, but in terms of minimising the damage. They can afford to lose an end by a shot or two. Not the end of the world. And that then puts more pressure on Vlahos and Winther to start pulling some big shots out to rack up some numbers.
Exactly. So great to have your company. We've got plenty of viewer numbers as well, which is great to see. People enjoying their Sunday afternoon or maybe Sunday morning for Tom Vlahos's fans over in Western Australia. Daylight saving, of course, commencing today. How do you go with that, Rob?
I love it.
Noticed the 1 hour's less sleep this morning, did you?
I did, but I love it. I just think it's great to get home from work at the end of the day and have some time to do some things outside.
Yep.
No, you'll never hear me argue about faded curtains, Rick, that's for sure. I'm not from Queensland.
As the Blues Brothers blare out in the background here. And the rink right next to the musician. So, sounding very good. And Morrison, well, he's out and pretty much sits his other one there. And McMullen gives the thumbs up. He's happy with it. And why not when you're up by 13 with 3 and a bit ends to go. Just joining us, the latest scores we had from our other 3 quarterfinals. A couple of tight ones. 3 tight ones. In fact, Lording and Carver, last report, were up 11-8 over Banks. Strachan was up 8-5 over defending champions Appleyard and Bell Chambers. And Matthew Mitchell up over Josh Walker-Davis, 12-11. So once we got the results, just having a look over there to see if we can see some scores. A little bit difficult from our vantage spot, but might be on the 12th ends over there, so they're all getting towards the completion. And it's advantage McMullen and Morrison here in this quarterfinal. And a little bit of protection again from McMullen, just sliding that one along. We saw Winther on last time they were up this end, Rob, came up with a magnificent drive, and then McMullen trumped it. So
yeah, that was that little purple patch they had. They just captured the mat back, hadn't they, on that previous end?
Unfortunate for them, they just haven't been able to deliver consistently today. That wind has died down a little bit too. It's beautiful conditions, it has to be said right now. It's getting better as the day goes on. The wind is dropping, as we just mentioned. So it's had a good drop of rain early this morning, around about 6 a.m.
Dave Moore would have loved that rain early this morning.
They would have got him up
Good
bright and
shower.
early.
He would have been out looking in the gauge.
But obviously with the artificial turf that we're playing on here, it allows us to play through that. And but I think it's going to be pretty quick this afternoon.
Yeah, I know that there are a number of purists out there that tut the artificial green a bit, but with our weather as it is here in Tassie, Rick, it's particularly springtime, it certainly we probably wouldn't have been playing if this was a grass green, would we?
No.
Or yesterday either, for that matter.
The Winter's going to just go through, didn't touch anything, so they're staring down the barrel at 3 here with McMullen. With his final bowl at this end, Winter's got 1 to come. Then he draw another shot and make it 4. Morrison's got his foot pointed, and McMullen's going to finish pretty well spot on again to where his partner wanted him to go. So this is don't underestimate how important this bowl is. He's got a good line here. Is he going to take just misses? So that's 3 more shots to McMullen and Morrison. And the margin is 16 shots. So it wasn't great at maths, Rob, but if they can't win this end, it's game over.
Yeah, that's right. They
3 bowl pairs.
Becomes mathematically impossible for them, doesn't it?
And maximum of 6 per end. So I'm sure McMullen and Morrison would love to just finish it off here. Get off, have a little bit of a break before their semi-final.
Tell you what, it'd be a heck of a comeback if they nailed 3 lots of 6, Vlahos and Winther. We'd be talking about that forever, I reckon, wouldn't we, Rick?
Sure, I reckon they'll do a lap of honour too. Great to see crowds just building up all the time, isn't it? Sun's coming out and the people are starting to head up here to this beautiful location at East Launceston.
Enjoying the hospitality. I can see some food and drink being buried around the green.
Yeah, the old pizza van over the back there, wood-fired pizzas.
I'll be going to see him in the break.
Yes.
Rick, I reckon they smell fantastic.
Yeah, put my order in. Ollie Morrison bowling absolutely beautifully. Yep. No, Vlahos and Winter, they've only won, really the story of the day, they've only won 1 end.
I haven't been too far away in some of the others, but that's just that. I think the old quote out of the movies, it's a game of inches, isn't it?
Yeah.
Al Pacino.
That's beautiful from Ollie once again.
Any given Sunday, and today's one of those Sundays, I think, Rick.
Yep.
Just a game of inches. And Morrison and McMullen have certainly been the masters of those inches today.
Morrison's led brilliantly in this contest. He really has.
Been terrific.
Youngster from Longford. Just not able to push it far enough. Vlahos.
There you are. That's a pretty impressive shirt he's got there too, Tom Vlahos, from the Joondalup Bowls Club in WA.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's always good at these events to see the different shirts on show.
Yeah. Plenty of colour in bowls now, isn't it? Hasn't it changed?
It has. It's terrific.
You a traditionalist, Rob, or you go with the times?
Go with the times, and I think that's what you've got to do to try and maintain that interest in your sport, don't you? Certainly, you've mentioned a number of times the BPL Cup and the interest that's generated. Bowls Premier League, obviously, Tassie Tridents.
Yeah. The fencing has just collapsed. If people's wondering what's going on, down near our microphone, down the other end. No damage done. Boys from Round Table Studio just making sure it wasn't anywhere near their gear. Now, Winter coming around. It's just going to slip on pass. So look at the moment. We got Ollie Morrison holding 1, and Winter's got 2 bowls left. Rob Soward to try and keep this alive for at least one more end.
And, you do sort of wonder if it's not delaying the inevitable, but they need some big numbers. And
they did get 3 on that end where they their sole end that they've won so far today.
Nice weight behind
that. It is good weight. It's a pretty good line too.
Beautifully done.
Just a little unlucky. Just didn't quite get that line. It was a spot on, and she said it is a game of inches, and at this stage of the game when you're facing down the barrel, there is no margin for inches. And it's
handy bowl at the back there.
Yeah, wherever that was going to finish is pretty good.
Robbie McMullen.
And I've just seen Josh Walker-Davis throw away his towel in disgust, mate. So don't think that's a great sign over there.
No, you don't. Not often you see him.
No, he's walked away, sitting at the back, and without knowing the score, it was 13-12 after 12 ends. So they are still bowling. So I'm not sure it is over. Maybe he's just angry at one bowl. We'll try and grab a result there shortly.
You certainly don't see that from him. Be disappointed.
Bit of a conversation going on here between McMullen, a little bit of a delay. Still whether they're talking about whether they've got to finish the 15 ends or whether they'll stop. Can't think what else they'd be talking about.
I don't reckon he's ordering a pizza.
No. With comes in through, and he's kept it alive, Rob.
He has. 2.
That's very nicely done.
It's a beautiful bowl. I mean, it's almost reminiscent of the McMullen effort on the previous couple of ends ago, where all was good for the opposition.
They're going to shake hands because it is 19-5. So they're going to finish up because there is 2 ends to go, but they can't win it. So they check the scorecards, and we'll see the 4 players shake hands here, because that is the end of our first quarter final on our show rink. And the final score, 19-5. So well done to Rob McMullen and Ollie Morrison, the Tasmanians. Through to the semi-final, they defeated Tom Vlahos and Ben Winter, 19-5. We'll be back with our semi-final when that gets underway. We'll give you all the results of the others, but thanks for your company, and we're going to see you very shortly.